Hey everybody, welcome to Myopia Movies. This week we are talking another Hitchcock classic, North by Northwest. Now, this is one that I had seen in bits and bobs, and of course, thanks to things like The Simpsons, I knew almost every beat of it, though not the order they came in. But, remarkable movie about the heroic nature of being a whiskey drinker. And, just a little bit of everything. We hope you've enjoyed this Hitchcock month and enjoyed listening to us talk about some of the classics. We don't actually do this kind of thing too often, so it's fun to do. In the meantime, we'd like to thank you for doing all you do to keep us relevant, reviewing us, and keeping us on the charts of downloading and sharing. So thanks.
Welcome to Myopia Movies. This week, we're going to Mount Rushmore, you see. That turned into Matt Berry really quick. I'm so sorry. We're in week 3 of our Hitchcock month as we talk about North by Northwest. I'm your host, Nick Hoffman, and Riffer on Cineprov. And on panel, we've got
Nortronette, also Riffer on Cineprov.
And
Lauren.
Alex.
So, we're about to talk about possibly my second or third favorite Hitchcock movie. My first, of course, is Psycho, because it's the first I've seen, and it's still a masterpiece. But, as I was telling Alex at the beginning, this is diametrically opposed, because Psycho is masterful, but it is the lowest budget you can get. It's black and white. It's the year after this, and it's still black and white. It's sets, it's dry, it's thin. This has composite shots, and we end up on Mount fucking Rushmore, and it is delightful. This is probably the first time I've seen it all the way through in 20 years. Anyone else seen it rarer than that? Is this anyone's first time?
This is my first time watching it.
And Nor, what did you think?
So I thought I was dumb because I really didn't. No, because so I don't.
It's hard.
But no. Like it was almost like deja vu. Like it expected me to know what the fuck was going on in the movie.
Yep.
And as the movie progressed, and as you're trying to, I don't know, as the movie progressed, you're kind of understanding bits and pieces of it. But I felt like, I don't know, because it was just like the time. What year did this movie come out?
59?
59. So I don't know, it's like all movies in the 50s like this, in the 60s like this, where they just drop and you just understand like the exposition and stuff. But then as I started watching the movie and started looking at like the plot points and the story points and stuff, I started to really like it. But like this was a very confusing movie for me to like.
Yeah, you need like
watch it.
cork board with the pins and the
right.
pictures connected by strings sometimes. I mean, I needed some outside help to just make sure I had all the connections right. But yeah,
I love the complexity, and Hitchcock did that a little bit on purpose, I feel, for sure.
No, 100%.
He even, you know me, Nick, I like the behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
So I had to talk about that. But so I love to research that behind the scenes and the facts. But he apparently, Cary Grant was very confused because Hitchcock purposely, they would film scenes out of order.
I believe it. Yeah. It probably didn't see much of the script. Yeah.
So Hitchcock did that a bit on purpose. He would film out of order a bit to confuse Cary, and that's part of his characters. He doesn't know what's going on. And
So it wasn't just me.
I mean, a little bit. They explain everything really well. I think it's beautiful, but for sure you have to catch up for sure.
Well, and again, I'm going to try not to get too into the weeds because we did Vertigo already, and I talked about how much I love how we shot the movie.
But like, so beautiful.
Well, it is. But like, how great is it that this is a wrong man movie? So you don't understand. I'm not actually Mr. Kaplan, who you think I am. But he's an advertising exec. So the whole thing from the beginning is we're seeing him try to sell stuff. So I'm feeling a little heavy today. So what about think thin? And so maybe this is a whole narrative on what it means to be a director. You're lying about who you are from the beginning
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's misinterpreting what you're doing. Like, this is almost, if we did this and then we did Fight Club or Scarface and it's all about assholes who interpreted this wrong, that's kind of what this movie is. Because again, Cary Grant is 55. He's a man out of time here, and he's going to start nailing a 23-year-old, which we get. But at this
26. That's the
I
only
never
thing I
talk
remember.
love with
Well,
an
that
empty
is a
stomach.
common theme in Hitchcock.
The birds I go out on an empty stomach.
Well, in there, check this out. Because I wasn't in when we first did Psycho. What? All right. I know who Alfred Hitchcock is, but for
he's
those
the fat guy who misses the bus at the beginning.
word, okay.
He was.
Why is he such a staple? What was so different about him and other directors? Was it about the flushing toilet scene from Psycho? Like, what exactly? Like, what made him?
He's a master. He's a master.
Wait.
Just his shots, his cinematography are beautiful. Like, even in this movie, The North by Northwest, the car shots when the guy is driving drunk. I'm sorry, it's beautiful.
It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. And you feel like it. And Hitchcock is great on feeding on your fears, right? That's what The Birds is about. That's what Psycho is about. So this one, he's kind of feeding on your fear. That would be horrible to be worst case identity that you're accused of murder.
Right.
And you had nothing to do with it, but like literally everyone thinks you have. And there's, people think there's all this proof because there's literally a newspaper reporter taking your picture as you're pulling out a knife. Like we'll get into it, but
yeah,
Hitchcock is, I think what he's masterful at is kind of playing on your fears. And this one is a little bit the ultimate gaslighting, right?
Yeah.
Ultimate gaslighting and kind of wrong identity.
So at the time, I mean, when did Casablanca come out?
45.
And then Gone with the Wind. So
it's during World War II itself.
So like, no movies were like Alfred Hitchcock movies prior to.
Well, and Hitchcock was making movies at the time, but they were mostly in England. And I will also just add to what Lauren said. Watch a movie like this. This is your standard wrong man movie. In fact, in some ways, this is almost the first Hitchcock movie anyone should ever see because it has all the elements. The Hitchcock blonde, the wrong man, the dramatic tension, the
Hitchcock cameo.
The cameo. And because the Hitchcock cameo at this point, he had been making movies since the 30s. Everyone was looking for his cameo. So in this, it's literally the first shot you see because he's like, you don't want to look anywhere other than the movie.
My friend, I beg to differ.
Oh,
his cameo in this movie, apparently.
Okay.
This is discussed. Is he's in drag. And he is one of the female passengers on the train when they first get on.
That's what I've heard too.
Wow.
Yeah.
We see that at the very beginning, missing the bus.
That is the
And he
rumor
comes
with
back. Yes.
This film. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
This cameo, apparently, he's in drag for this, which I love.
And so just to add all of this together, these kinds of movies are supposed to, on one hand, almost Twilight Zone it. We are afraid of the Cold War. We're fearing things. Who's the CIA? Or in this place, I think the professor says, what's his name? He goes, are you CIA, FBI? He goes, we're part of the alphabet soup.
We're all part of the alphabet soup.
And,
Great laugh.
so like, you realize as an American, you're out of control with your own life. But at the same time, if you're the master of suspense, you need that suspense. And he doesn't even have to lift a finger because 90% of this world is just fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I get it. He's like, I guess you can say how Quentin Tarantino really revolutionized stuff in the 90s and stuff, using music and stuff. So, okay.
Well,
Similar
and again,
somewhere.
as someone who teaches film now and again, I start with a movie like this or an episode of The Twilight Zone, and then I show them anything else. And then you realize, oh, that Hitchcock zoom, that's in Jaws. Like that tension, That's the whole Twilight Zone series, and then the X-Files. Like, what he does is he ruins the rest of the genre for everyone else. And then everyone has to do a Hitchcock movie. As we are talking, Gene Hackman just passed, and something like, Chinatown, or like, that's what these things are. When you have the hero who's trying to save the day and you're looking at these long shots, you're looking at these things, that's what it is. The only difference is that this is 1959 and this is Technicolor, and it looks incredible. This movie looks incredible, and
it's impressive for 1959. It really kind of is.
And for a movie that's just a skosh over 2 hours, he's in the plot within 10 minutes.
It moves fast. They get into it. Yeah, I love it.
So
they don't waste time.
No, yeah, within the first like 10 minutes, they get there's no build up. So I guess no, I really like it because like as we're recording, I'm just skimming through the movie myself. But no, within the first 10 minutes, they start the actual, let's get this guy drunk.
So my lovely friend Lauren here, can you give us a plot synopsis, at least the back of the box? You don't have to tell us the whole thing, but the back of the box.
Absolutely. So Cary Grant plays this guy named Roger, and we believe he's in advertising. They kind of show him first right at the beginning with his assistant and stuff like that. And he's going to lunch, club with the boys, because this is the 50s after all. They're having the, lunch.
3 martini lunch.
Yeah, 3 martini lunch. And he asks the waiter, so there's these 2 guys on the side that are clearly looking for someone and are spies. And so they ask the waiter to page someone. And so it's a timing thing. At the same time, Cary Grant motions to the waiter. So then they think that Roger is their man when he's not.
He's gesturing because he's trying to tell his mother that they're changing locations for dinner because they're going to the Winter Garden to watch a play, you see.
And so they think this guy is their man they're looking for. We don't know who yet, but they Kaplan, but they say that later. But they kidnap him. And so they kidnap him and take him to this large estate, which I love that he's not blindfolded.
No.
Like, yes, he's looking at everything and can see everything because that's relevant later.
Yeah, he's going from Manhattan to Long Island.
Yeah.
6 days later.
So they kidnap him and they just keep calling him Kaplan. Kaplan, we know who you are. And he's like, no, I'm Roger Atwood or whatever. And he keeps denying and they keep saying, so it's a whole thing. They won't let him leave. And they say, they finally get a bottle of bourbon and tell him that he has to drink it, or we'll force it down your throat. And so
they got out the spring break.
And so next scene you see, Cary Grant is clearly drunk. He's singing and anyway, and so the hitman basically trying to make it act like he died in a car accident. They're trying to set it up, but he, I guess, wakes up and can drive drunk. He's okay.
Little did they know he was an alcoholic that does this all the time.
I don't know. He almost gets in an accident like 6 times, but I was pretty damn impressed for a whole bottle of bourbon.
Them 3 large martini, whatever, the plaza, and these 3 other advertising guys are like, we've already been drinking, Roger.
Nobody finishes like him. Yeah, he's this man.
They got the
he's like a mad. He's the madman. He's the madman.
Don't worry, my friends. I'll catch up to you.
Yeah.
He's just like,
So this movie.
Some cops finally get him, right? Because he's speeding and driving like a maniac. And so that makes the hitman go away.
Yeah, and let's be clear here at this point. He doesn't hit anyone the cop backs up into him.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
He stops at a stop sign.
You know, we forget that Professor Xavier in upstate New York is like, you see, he understands that alcohol is my superpower, you see.
This movie could have
This
movie could have ended if they got like, I don't know, an Amish person or someone who's never drank before.
He would have died of alcohol poisoning them.
Oh, right then. Oh, geez.
It's literally is it? Oh, you see, my school in upstate New York, in Westchester, you see, he could be my ex-man. We'll call him Jim Bean. You see,
He literally Jim Belushi's a whole class.
John Belushi.
Oh, so John Belushi. Oh, the wrong Belushi. It's just, yeah. I mean, that's.
Oh my God, you just created the greatest movie of all time.
What?
The Wrong Belushi.
Oh, I'm sad.
See, my brother's the one who could actually sing in the blues band.
Oh God. Oh God.
So they take him to court, right? He's all drunk, and they take him to court, and
His mom shows up.
yeah, he calls his mom, and they have a doctor to question him to ask if he's drunk, which I love. Instead of now, and they just like take
my
blood.
You say.
Yeah,
That was the DUI. That's how they handle DUIs. But
They didn't breathalyze it.
So we're gonna take your blood.
It only goes straight to the blood test. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like Lauren mentioned, the scenes where he's driving the car and he's drunk and they're trying to make the audience have the experience of like being drunk, and just things are flying around, things get blurry, things are off center. A car,
you see the car light.
a car just
Yeah.
appears in front of you. I mean, I think of Hitchcock and watching these movies the last few weeks. I just think of that's there are probably not too many scenes and camera shots like that and sequences that you've ever seen in cinema before Hitchcock does that.
Sure.
Well, so like, I'm not trying to say that he should be the villain because he's the victim here, but the idea that like he heroically drives down this California pass.
His tongue's lolling out of his mouth, his head bobbing side to side. Yeah, that was a heroic effort. Jeez.
I mean, it's Crazy Taxi or something. Like it's just, and again, I this is all practical effects. Like there's rear projection and front projection, and we haven't mentioned it yet, but one of the villains is James Mason, don't you see? Like, and it's James Mason, and like he is playing it nice and tight. We haven't even gotten to what the goings on are, but the whole thing is this delightful wrong man situation, and luckily he has the power of alcoholism. Like, because we're 6 drinks in, and he's like, you know what? I've been drunker, and he's avoiding bike riders in the middle of the night. Like,
he's at court the next day. He's holding his head a little bit. You know, he's hurting a tad, but he's been there before.
And his mother, for this 58-year-old, has heard it all along. Like,
So Cary Grant tries to convince the judge, like, no, these men kidnapped and assaulted me, you know, and tried to get me, you know, gave me this whole bottle of bourbon.
And apparently they have the one contractor in existence that shows up on time because nothing looks right.
Exactly.
The booze is hidden because
they go
Jim
back,
Belushi
they go back again because they didn't.
Jim Belushi just showing up.
They didn't blindfold him, so they go right back to the house to investigate. And
like Beer Fest, I guess he just got drunk again. He's like, "Don't worry, mother, I can get us back."
I mean,
Mother, the alcohol. Mother.
no. I mean, in
And I just want to add one line here because we're here, but he goes, "Mother, they gave me an entire quart of whiskey." No, they didn't give me a chaser. And I'm just like, that's just rude. You know what, James Mason? You should have given him a chaser.
Yeah. And this is the part of the movie where I'm like, oh, shit's happening. This is when they go back to the mansion, and you know, and then who opens the front door? It was actually the wife of it. It's like, oh, what's his name? Oh, Roger.
yeah, she uses his name.
Yeah.
Because the day before they only called him Kaplan, but they use his name.
He's trying to
His real
shit up and stuff. It's like, oh, we told you to grab a cab. They go back to the room. They open the cabinet, which where the booze was, just books. Just books.
Yeah, they clean the couch. I mean, it drives you.
Clean the
It
couch.
drives you crazy in a fun way. It's like a fun frustration, and it's like
Someone who's spilled whiskey on a couch before. My God.
Dries up.
Where's a Tide pen? This.
Doesn't, I mean,
Well, and also, as an aside, I love this to death, but like, how? Any of this stuff. Like, I do like how it all fits together, but where's anyone to say, like, this seems like.
well, yeah, we kind of maybe think you're telling a shred of truth here to Roger. No,
Yeah.
but
No.
they just.
She's like, his mother is like, just pay the $2.
Say the two.
That made me
That was very blunt.
that.
It's very Arrested Development. Like, how much is this drunk ticket?
I must have missed that part. So he just has to pay a fee and that's it?
Kinda. But
The fuck was going on in the 50s?
so, yes, but he's convinced more's at stake. And that's why he go.
He starts investigating.
This marketing executive turns into an agent. Okay, that makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
but that's kind of the joke, which is if you're a director and the whole thing is the M. Night Shyamalan, what a twist,
Mhm.
right? What if your whole thing is that this guy is based on bullshit, right? He's an advertising guy, so he's full of shit anyway. So what if he could play it off, right?
They make that clear, actually, in the very, very first scene. When you very first meet him, he steals a cab
right.
for him and his assistant. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I have a very ill woman with me." Like, so it kind of set up that this guy is full of crap.
Yeah, and the assistant is just there to take his dictation. She's not a character. She's
Right.
practically kicked out the door. And it's kind of his movie, and now he has to deal with the fact that he's who he is. Because anyone else would fail, but now I'm Roger Kaplan. Right? Like,
So they got the right guy with the wrong person? Is that what
right.
you're saying?
It's kind of like
Right.
if Bond was an accident. Because
Right.
Dr. No is, I think, 4 years later. And so this is almost a Bond movie. And so the books were out, but Hitchcock is right. It's almost more interesting if it's an accident. Right?
For sure.
I will say this because, and we'll get to this in the later part of the movie, but I honestly thought there was a very specific scene. Specific?
Pacific.
Or why not? Specific.
The ocean?
Yes.
Yes.
Where I thought it was from a Bond movie, but then it was from North by Northwest. But I don't want to spoil that. We'll get to
and
it.
again, like, I like the Q character, the Desmond Llewellyn character, but this is almost better where he's like on the back foot the whole time. Like, it does make it better because, like, we get the scene like Lauren was alluding to where he's in court and doing the breathalyzer, but then immediately the bad guys show back up,
Mhm.
right? Like, because the fact of the matter is Roger Thornhill doesn't matter in this movie at all. He's immediately Kaplan. And we find out
He's
eventually-
determined to find out that who those guys were that took him and to prove that he's telling the truth.
right.
He's had a really bad day.
Yeah.
This is like just really bad day.
it's a weird few days. But yeah, he does go from sort of advertising guy to bullshitter to agent
Kaplan.
who's running his own investigation and has to, get into the intrigue on his own, which, definitely later in the movie he has some tricks up his sleeve too. So,
And again, I guess this is the beauty of the movie because it's just like one situation after another situation. And again, when I was watching this movie, I don't think I really gave enough time and detail and attention to notes, but like, is this one of those scenes where if you look at the background, you can see the henchmen just following him over and over again? Or is it just more so like, how are they able to like predict or just follow like these breadcrumbs, if you will? Or is that just me over analyzing things?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are bits of that throughout it. Like,
They
the
follow
henchman
him to the hotel.
Yeah,
they follow
they
him to the
showing up.
UN office. Yeah, they follow him to the auction.
We'll get to the auction.
Yeah.
The auction might be the best scene in this whole thing.
I think it was much easier for taxis to follow each other in the 50s, I don't know, because it does seem very easy for them to just know his whereabouts.
Yeah.
You were just want to get in a cab, be like, follow him or follow. I don't know. It's just,
Lose that car.
yeah, I was just like, this is an Uber, sir. Like, but okay, so I guess they go after the mansion. They go back to the hotel. So I'm just following along. Into which, so I guess we'll find out who Kaplan is essentially.
That's what Thornhill. That's what Roger is trying to do. Is he's trying to find the real Kaplan,
right? Which is this
to see.
So
yeah,
he goes to the hotel that that Townsend, the the person whose estate it is, played by James Mason, whose estate that is, and it is in a way. But so Thornhill and his mother go to the hotel where Townsend mentions that Kaplan is supposedly checked in. They go up, they get up to the room. He recruits his mother to go get the key by telling a tale, I guess, to the concierge.
I love how he just bribes his mom to do things. He's like,
Just
give me a
like,
10. Here's a 50. I was just like,
he gives her actual money. Yes,
I was just like,
that is
Can
hilarious.
you bribe this man, mother?
use the chalk.
she walks away, but then the last minute grabs it. I love that, and she grabs the money. Yeah. So this hotel room, they find that like his suit was delivered. Kaplan's suit is delivered. That the maid always comes or whatever. She knows, like, but they don't know. They think it's him. They call him Kaplan.
He's never been there, supposedly. Yeah,
So they've never actually seen
never
him.
seen him. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
exactly.
Suit's too short. And then,
Right.
yeah.
Then the phone rings
This
and he
is-
answers it, and it's a hitchman.
And you recognize him. He's like, hey, you're not Kaplan, huh? You're really not Kaplan? I'm talking to you now? So he's kind of put himself in a situation where, no, he's not Kaplan, but yes, he kind of is Kaplan now.
And again, at this point, I still don't know who Kaplan is. To the truth be told, we will find out. I mean, like, and I guess that's the cool thing about a Hitchcock movie, or at least what this movie is. They keep you. We are Roger. We are finding things out.
Exactly.
Well, and again, if the whole
on the
artifice
journey.
of it all is that we're making something artificial, because again, we're talking about an ad man. Like, this is practically what? This is John Hamm. Like, we're
Don Draper, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, but what if you think thin? Like, and then all of a sudden, what if Don Draper has to be James Bond? And it's interesting in that way because he's charismatic so far, but like, he's going to steal a train, and the train tenant is like, or the conductor, engineer, whatever, conductor is like, where's your ticket? And he's like, it's over there. And he runs off. And you're just like, there's not a lot of connective tissue, but we're going to end up at the Mount Rushmore? Like, right?
Well, I will say this. I do want to talk about the UN scene, because I think that is actually my favorite sequence in Charlotte.
It is really good.
So he goes to the UN for what reason?
No. The house that he ends up with
Right.
is,
He's a diplomat, and
it turns out that where he got drunk and mugged was the mansion of someone who's like,
He's a real UN diplomat named Townsend, a real guy,
yeah.
not James Mason's character who is pretending to be that guy.
Yeah.
And the only reason I bring it up here is it's a comedy scene. This is a sitcom. It's like, so I was at your house. He goes like, why were you at my house? And he goes, because I was drinking at your house. I met your maid. And he's like, my maid?
And
your
wife.
wife.
And my
He said my wife's been dead for 10 years or something.
Yeah.
It's very Jimmy Stewart of you. What days?
So, fun fact. Fun fact, more. I love the behind the scenes shit again.
Okay.
Jimmy Stewart originally wanted to play Roger.
Oh.
Jimmy Stewart was gunning for Hitchcock because he had already done 4 Hitchcock movies, right?
Okay.
And so he wanted this to be his fifth, but Hitchcock didn't want Jimmy for this movie. He wanted Cary Grant. So Hitchcock waited until Jimmy Stewart was already attached to another movie before he hired Cary Grant, so like not get bad blood.
You guys say it works. I can't meet.
It works better.
It works way better. Jimmy Stewart's an incredible actor. I could not see him in this role.
Well, I don't know if you were trying to do a Jimmy Stewart impression, Hoffman. He's like, "Where's the money?" Like it's just.
Yeah. What's going on there?
It's in a center. Oh, wait a minute, Townsend.
That'd be great.
Oh, mother, they poured the bourbon down my throat. What was I supposed to do?
Stop it.
Mother, what are you gonna do, Mary? You know,
Yeah.
you say your mother. You know.
I
Oh,
gotta go with you in,
My
Mom.
golly, I think I debuted by Jimmy Stewart on the last episode. I'm not sure it's gotten any better. Well,
Jimmy was campaigning to be in this movie.
Actually, you see, Mother, I'm so Mother. You see, she's got.
They assaulted me, Mother.
Mother, the bourbon.
Or the Marvin, you see the bourbon. I'm sorry, Mother. You know, Mother, the bourbon. You slipped into a bite in there.
But in Vertigo,
This is America.
Let me tell you something, Jack.
But in Vertigo, no one else but Jimmy could be in that movie. He's incredible.
That's right.
He's
Exactly.
We're saying
with
Or Rear Window, which, full disclosure, I actually watched for this episode by mistake, and then I had to watch North by Northwest this afternoon. But it's really fresh in my mind, and I look forward to talking about Rear Window because it's a great movie.
Just real quick, because I don't want to rush over this assassin scene, which to me it's comical. Maybe you're saying it's comical because so the diplomat gets who's the henchman in the Bond movies, the one that throws the hat or the shoe? I forget. And just odd giant.
Who throws a shoe?
I mean, no, the big random task. Random task. Got awesome powers.
Who throws his shoes? Honestly, I'm sorry, I had to do it.
He throws this knife right at the back, and fucking Julius Caesar's him, and it's just the sequence into which he dives in, he carries his body, then pulls the knife out from the back, and then happens to be a photographer there, which was probably planted, right? And just obviously, and no one's stopping this man who just killed someone in the UN. I thought that was, for me, it was funny. The whole sequence of him falling down and falling down, and oh my God, there's a knife. Oh wow, I'll pull this up. It's just, that was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Prideful.
Well, and it said Hitchcock is done that I've seen since watching recently. When the real Townsend, he's being shown the picture of
Exactly.
the fake Townsend, and then his face just explodes. You don't know what going on. You think he's reacting to the picture, but it was no, there's a knife in his back. I think Hitchcock does a really just a cool job of showing a character with an expression. You don't know why they're reacting that way until a few seconds later. So it keeps you on your toes.
It's very nice. But it is amazing how no one stops him. And then he goes straight to the train center with no problem.
Well, and we have this situation where it's kind of a very subtle, oh, maybe I'm a part of something, to killing a UN ambassador. And it was just oh, we're
things
it's
escalating.
very doomed, right? It's very funny how the way everything escalates from being I don't know, it's an episode of a TV show to a movie.
It was very
it
Amazon.
escalates so quick.
The UN scene they had to film in secret.
Yes.
Wait, so they
Because-
filmed it the
The
Okay.
outside.
Yeah.
Hitchcock apparently folded in a van across the street a little bit because it wasn't allowed.
With them with-
Yeah. Part of it wasn't allowed.
Oh wow.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
So I just want to break here for a Hitchcock fact.
Okay.
I heard, and this is probably, I forgot which actor had dinner with him, who was alive back then. Could have been an old one. He would order a meal. And then it would be it would be 5 courses with a cappuccino. And then if he liked it, he was do it again.
Is that very much
Believable. I mean,
unbelievable?
Yeah.
He had a
Was he
thing for
big-
eggs too.
Oh, for eggs, yeah. Was he a big guy? For some reason I can't. So I get Philip Seymour Hoffman's
The capital letter D.
right.
Yeah.
That was Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Because what I imagine, again, I haven't seen a picture of Alfred Hitchcock, but I just keep envisioning Philip Seymour Hoffman's Caputo and Theodore Roosevelt merged together, and that was Alfred Hitchcock. Am I wrong?
Well, they could walk, but otherwise you're
Okay, I got you. I'll look up. I haven't Googled. I'll Google a picture. But okay, back to the movie. Oh, is that? I was right, Caputo. Okay. No. Yeah, I see it. I see it now.
Yeah, that's like his famous profile.
And that's the guy who couldn't get on the bus in the first shot of the movie. Yeah.
So I guess after the UN, you said he tries to go to the train station.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the train shows up. Well, no, it's again, it's a Bond movie, and so we're gonna hit the train scene now. This is From Russia with Love. This is those kinds of things where you gotta, out of Grand Central Station, you see, we've got to move on. The plot is over there in North Dakota, you see. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's the reason the title of this movie, I figured it out,
oh,
is it starts in New York,
yeah, okay.
Chicago,
North.
South Dakota. That's good.
And it
North
features
by
a-
Northwest.
It features a Northwest Airlines
Yeah.
flight as well.
I will just add out here, Peter Bogdanovich, the guy who's, just he's maybe the definition of a tour. He's the Citizen Kane's buddy. He just said out there, like, this movie is a fantasy because at the beginning when we get the compass, it's not pointing north by northwest, so we know immediately it's a fantasy.
Oh.
I just
To go back to see if there was a compass.
I throw it out there just because I like this as a heightened reality. If this was 5 years later, it would feel like a rip-off of a Bond movie. But instead, there's no Bond here yet. The books exist, kinda. But at the same time, as a wrong man scenario, he does everything wrong, but also right. So it feels that way. And so the second we're heading towards wherever, and he's awkwardly just saying, like, this woman on the train,
Yes, they meet.
I could seduce her, but he doesn't know why he's seducing her. She's just the hot blonde who's 20 years younger.
She hits on him first. Am I wrong?
Oh, true. Yeah. No,
Yeah, she
Kind of starts the flirty flirt, I think.
She
first.
misdirects the police officers to allow him on the train. Then she's sitting there lying in wait for him and directs the waiter to seat him with her should he make his way to the train. She's quite forward. And
Her
and honest.
famous line, I don't talk about love on an empty stomach. Like,
But you've already eaten.
So the actress named Eva Mary Saint, she's still alive?
Oh, right on.
Well, hold on. I mean, she says she's 100. Wait, no. Okay, wait.
No.
No. This is active years of acting? Hold on. No, she died. No, that was a spouse. I'll find a mystery. I'll find it out.
It's a Hitchcock mystery on Wikipedia. It's going to be twists and turns, but we're going to find the answer to this.
She alive? Hold on. Alive? I'm just doing a quick Google search.
But I kind of think she starts the romancing, and he's taking a line. He's taking it because he's seeing it as his out and to escape. And hey, I might get a girl too. And
Little do we know what she's up to at this
Right.
point.
Where's the Lauren Hitchcock switch here?
She's alive. All right. Yeah, she's 100 years old.
right on.
Oh, give you ale.
For her.
She survived a Hitchcock movie.
She survived a Thornhill, you see.
Yeah, I struggle because he was apparently a horrible director.
Well, yeah, I was reading something with
The birds?
with the Birds movie where he just like tortures
Be a head run.
Yeah.
Just a movie. But
Fused to the ground.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was apparently
Her
horrible.
feet weren't in the
Well, I know that they didn't crucify her feet, but like just for her not to get out from that telephone booth.
Mr. Marks.
Uh,
And so you punish the bid. No. No, I mean,
Yeah,
just
he's
upon what he
apparently
did.
very abusive.
He is still a generation better than Kubrick.
Yeah.
Because he still only did 10 or 15 takes as opposed to 700 takes. But no, apparently,
Put those steps in.
well, and I've picked movies, I think, that show women with power. But a lot of his movies are like, you know what sucks about women? Them talking. So, what if they were dead already? Like my favorite, and it's a good movie. It's a movie called Rope, if you haven't seen it. But it's effectively a one-act play. Like, there's barely a cut from the thing. But the only time you see a woman is at the very beginning saying, they'll be here soon. And at the end, where she's welcoming people into the apartment. But I don't think there's anything else. It's all men saying, like, but what if, what happened? And so that's why I think, maybe, if we're talking about gender and such, this one's okay. The best might be Psycho. And not saying that the woman who dies at the beginning is okay. But the woman's the one who solves the problem at the end.
Right.
Right. Like, and to be fair, he's an asshole. And he is an asshole.
Yeah.
But it's also the era.
It is.
Because the biggest movie at the time was Bond. And most of the women in this have more to do than the Bond movies. And as a woman on the podcast, no, you shut up. No, but
You shut up.
no, it is better. It is better.
There's a strong.
Still,
No, I like that she's saving his ass in that scene. She's saving
she
him.
does a lot to help.
His face is on the newspaper of every newspaper on the front cover. He is only apparently wearing sunglasses to try to disguise.
My
He's not-
disguise, you see.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
He's just a super whole thing. Just put a baseball cap and sunglasses. I'm a different.
So she's saving his ass. She's giving him a lifeline in some direction.
And she's in control for a good portion of that part of the movie.
Very sure, very sure.
I would love to ride a train that romantic.
Oh,
Like, Nor.
we can go together, dog. Yeah, we could. Yeah,
Arm in arm.
we can go on the Orient Express.
Getting into that.
Yeah.
Getting into that fold out little cubby compartment.
Carry on back.
Just jamming in there.
1,000 pounds. Oh, love to see if you fit on.
So just because it was hard for me to follow, she knows who this. Okay, she obviously knows who this guy is,
Right.
but does she know who this guy is?
Yes.
she just, I get the
I believe
feeling
so.
she knows he's the wrong guy, but
She knows he's the wrong guy.
She knows he's not Kaplan
'Cause-
because
They're trying. She's the spy. She's the actual.
no Kaplan.
You got that right, Nor?
Yeah, what? No.
That she's the spy.
Yeah. I knew that she was the spy. Yeah, but I just didn't know in relation because there's so many twists and turns. I forget
sure.
who is who and who worked for what, and like I was just like, I have to watch this movie a second time just to understand like the plot, the twist, and things that happen. But yeah, even how it ended. Yeah, no.
this scene in Grand Central where she's doing all that, and then Martin Landau's like behind her watching. That's what it is.
Young Martin Landau is menacing. Oh man, he's got like such a clean cut face, but he's in such a scowl the whole time. He is a menacing looking young Martin Landau.
Well, and again, I say this all the time, but like, I hate the Twilight movies for a lot of reasons, but they're all beautiful people. And I am not going to say that Martin Landau is ugly because he's not, but he just has a
Distinctive.
face.
Oh yeah.
So
There's a face. It's the Coen brothers thing. There's just distinct features on people. And when you have that long horse chin
yeah.
and he's looking at you, you're like, oh, that person matters.
who's Martin Landau?
Martin Landau is in a bunch of shit. And you
Yeah.
can look him up.
I see it.
His TV show when he was in the 70s was the original Mission Impossible.
Okay.
But the first time I interacted with him was in the first X-Files movie. He's in that. And he just has this dramatic presence of he has these, and I sound like I'm insulting him, but I'm not. He has a long chin and these kind of narrow, long lips, and he just looks intense. And in this, he's kind of sort of the gay boyfriend of James Mason. Because James Mason, you see, is down here. And Landau is just the love interest. And I only mentioned it here because it's 1958. And so many movies after it, including Diamonds Are Forever, among other things, always have that henchman who's gay and in love with the villain. And this is the first one to do it. And Landau even said he was playing it kind of gay and he was in love with James Mason.
Well, at the very end, James Van Damme. We should start calling him Van Damme at this point. He will say, like, are you jealous when they're he asked Leonard if he's jealous in a certain context, that I think maybe I didn't think of that approach you were taking right there, but that seems to make sense.
Yeah, and you get that feeling where and even at the end when Thornhill kills him, there's that scene like, I can't save you now. And that's what goes on. Often the henchman is the gay henchman, and it's gone back to the gay villain. But since then, like, it doesn't matter if you're watching that Punisher movie with Travolta. It often happens.
He was also in an episode of Entourage.
He was. Yes, he was. Now, is that something you might be interested in?
Maybe, yeah.
If you watched Entourage, you say that about.
You look familiar.
He was so.
Yes, after Masterpiece Theater, I often watch Entourage. You see,
regrettably, probably, I think I watched the entire run for some reason.
Yeah. You see the movie?
No, I didn't. I was done with it by that time. Why so?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I watched.
Although we do have to talk about the famous scene in this. That's next is the crop dusting scene.
Yes. That was
Carroll.
There, my wife was dozing off on the couch, and I was punching her in the kidney. You're watching this
cinema history.
It is.
So
it's beautiful.
I never watched until today or whenever I watched it, but I knew that scene.
Yeah.
Because like everyone spoofs it, whether it be from like sitcoms, Family Guy, everyone. And that's when I thought this was from a Bond scene.
So Marge, this is corn. So Thornhill.
It's interesting because you don't see it happening. You think he's just looking at a plane in the distance like we all would.
Yeah.
And plane's just going uphill, and all of a sudden it comes right towards
take
him.
a bus down Highway 41.
Yeah, I did. Our Highway 41. We're in the Atlanta area here.
Brother.
Full disclosure. Yep. He was born in the back of a Greyhound bus.
Yeah. And he gets off at this bus stop, and he's waiting for the assassin. And because the blonde bombshell, whose name is escaping me, it told him
Eve Kendall.
Eva.
Is it
Eva?
I'm gonna
just like Wally. No, that's what I'm gonna do.
Eva Kendall?
Yeah. Is saying like, look, this is where they're gonna meet you, and he's like, all right. I love the farmer who shows up, and they're like, you know what? That field doesn't need crop dusted. Yeah. And we look up, and we're just like, oh shit,
it's dusting crops.
And we realize, by the way, we're a podcast.
Yes, we are.
There's a true crime podcast somewhere. If Kaplan gets chopped up by that propeller blade, like in the middle of nowhere, some man in a suit gets chopped to dust. That's a true crime podcast. Well, we're doing a very different show in an alternate.
I wonder how they filmed it. Did they really get a crop duster and
a man in his suit with a hat?
They filmed it separately.
Right.
You'd almost have to.
They did Cary scenes where he's ducking and all that, and then they filmed the plane and put it together.
I thought they got like a little.
It's a toy. It was a man that only.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And if
forced perspective,
there was a character. If only he had a brain, that they threw underneath the ground, and then they threw a plane at him.
Yeah.
Because again,
little airplane.
Yeah, you've heard of the Serial podcast, But if in the middle of in Kansas, if a man got turned into like pulled pork, there'd still be the Thornhill podcast. NPR sponsors cereal and Thornhill. And like, because again, that is turned. I do like the random farmer who's like, I'm waiting for the bus. And Thornhill. And I do.
So then the important part of this scene, though, is he no longer trusts Eva.
He no longer.
Because she it makes it seem like she completely set him up to die.
Because we're now in our second sequence where it's a death by unfortunate events. We've had alcoholism, but he survived, right? And now we've had a situation where he survives crop dusting.
With a machine gun mounted on it, apparently.
Yeah.
Very normal.
But also, like, he was hiding in the cornfield. Smart move. So they gassed him out.
Try to smoke him out. Yeah.
But it is just, all of this is cool. And then it crashes into a gas truck. And I like the one guy who looks like he's out of a Jacob Rees photo or something. He's like, oh no, an explosion. And then he steals the car.
This is the worst day ever for this guy.
Now he's having a rough day.
If this happened to me, I would have.
But then
throw away the
this
key.
paper, like it's out of a Coen Brothers picture or something, goes, problem. 2 men die in a plane explosion out west. And you're just like, all right, the movie continues. This movie, I will just go on. We're tying it together delightfully.
Yeah.
And now we're heading to Mount Rushmore.
Or before Mount Rushmore, your favorite sequence,
Please.
the auction.
The auction.
Yeah, Chicago. They go to Chicago. Yeah.
Auction.
The auction.
The thing about this is there's a MacGuffin to this movie, which is effectively out of Tintin. There is a statue, and inside is a microfilm. We don't care. None of it is explained. None of it matters to this. But Thornhill ends up in this whole thing, and he's like, the fuck are we?
Yeah.
Like, and the whole thing about it is he ends up here. He notices that James Mason is here, and everything is here. And he's like, oh, so this is the plot. He's been dropped back into the movie, and he's like, let's fuck around. And I've never seen a scene like this before because the whole thing is.
Well,
go ahead.
No. I was reading like I just the way you have to think on your feet to not get caught in the auctioneer. What's it like? I wouldn't rely on the police to try to get caught, but no,
I would give this 13,000. You're back into it. No, $13, you prick. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on? And the whole part of this is this whole movie based in 1959 is this whole man in the gray flannel suit. It's so uptight. It's so like there's a morality. There's like a very mismanners part of this. And he's going to just shit in these people's face. And like there's the old woman at one point, kick him out. And then the next second she's laughing at the fact that he's doing this stuff. And I mean, you and I do stand up together effect. We'll sketch in front of us.
yes, improv,
Whatever.
sure. We make people laugh.
People pee us.
They don't arcade us.
Wow.
They do not
That's
arcade us.
sucks.
Take 2. All right, and go.
No, people pay us to be funny. I don't know who they are, but I'm sorry. He is fucking it up. Next time you're at church, no. Next time you do anything, like the fact that he's doing this is remarkable. And guess what? That old lady who's telling him to go to hell loves it the second time. And I love how this.
No, but what makes this scene important is you find out what the henchmen are after.
Oh my God.
It's
It matters nothing.
right.
And all you know really is that, and
The-
all you ever know is that Van Damme is somehow an agent of the opposite side of us in the Cold War. and he's trying to get secrets out, and he's buying stuff at auction because people have slipped him microfilm or microfiche.
After
Yeah,
action, that's what you find it.
and it's in these little objects he's bidding on. That's really all we know.
Then they escape to Mount Rushmore, have an epic battle, and clip names and chasing each other on this mountain, which I love. Hitchcock apparently petitioned to film on the actual Mount Rushmore.
Hmm.
Wait, that wasn't the Mount Rushmore. Yeah, I'm fucking up. That wasn't
Mount Rushmore.
That isn't Mount Rushmore.
So it's like the UN thing where the exterior shots are real. So the exterior shots are really Mount Rushmore, but the actual when they're climbing on crap is MGM Studios.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nick, quick, who's on Mount Rushmore?
No, it's Washington, Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Lincoln.
There we go.
You're welcome, America.
Thank God you're teaching.
And the
Thank- I hope
Declaration of
you would know.
Independence is hidden there.
But I think it's hilarious that Hitchcock petitioned to do the actual Mount Rushmore for this, and they gave it to him for a day. But then he started bragging. Apparently, was saying like, "I want to have my actors like climb on Lincoln." So then they took it away. Apparently, so then he could only do exterior shots.
How?
They had to film
That's
at MGM Studios.
Twitter wasn't there, so how could you brag about it too much to have it like shut down?
I don't know.
You know?
What happened? He ran his mouth too much.
This is on the dailies.
Actually, I wonder if it wasn't the opposite. Like, they wanted him to do it, and he talked too much so that they wouldn't have to. Because I couldn't imagine the logistics of that.
Right?
I will say, though, watching it, those composite shots are delightful.
Yeah.
Like, they
Pretty
look
awesome.
good. And I don't know how you all watched it, but I bought 4K a million years ago when it first came out. But, like, you can see lines, but it looks good. Like, the man knew how to set up a shot, and I'm not going to denigrate anything. It just looked good.
Well, I watched it on Tubi, and I don't know how we feel about Tubi, but it is
There was 7
great.
There were 7 pixels they could share.
No, is this good quality for Tubi?
Yeah, on your phone.
No, on my phone. But no. So as far as how Eva gets Eva, so she essentially. So okay, So the twist was that there was all these MacGuffins. This is a word I'm figuring out just from today.
What a twist.
In these auctioneer items, Eva's in the mix because why?
She's romantically involved with Van Damme, we learn later. She meets him at a party.
Right.
Van Damme's just a bad dude who's working for bad international actors in the Cold War against us. And so the American government, the so-called professor who we meet in Washington, and he shows up in Chicago and then South Dakota.
Right.
He recruits her to be on the inside to try to bring Van Damme down, or to at least thwart his efforts to steal secrets.
Okay.
He lives in Europe.
Who the fuck is Kaplan?
Made up dude. He is a diversion. He is a
point. That's the whole point. He doesn't actually exist. There is no Kaplan. He's a
Van
decoy.
Damme will use resources and energy, and his attention will be focused on a non-existent agent named Kaplan.
I'm glad you've been watching the movie.
No, I have been watching the movie. It was hard to understand.
I needed reinforcement to get to
Thank
be
you.
able to.
I just watched the movie and did no research or kind of I knew how it ended. It ended pretty quick, to be honest with you. But it's like
I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah. So I have to watch it again because I really like the cinematography from this, from a movie from the 50s, because one of my favorite movies, I mean, don't knock me, is the OG Ocean's 11. As slow as that heist is, I like it because of the twist and the turns and the Sinatras, So, yeah.
No, but just to add to that, there's no effects.
Yeah.
It's just slow. And I like a director who has to know what the camera is.
Yep.
That's what this is too.
It's intention. It's intention when I like.
Well,
I like that.
I hate you can use computer effects, but I hate when you can just fix everything with it. A computer should be a comma at the end of a sentence or a bandage. It shouldn't be the whole thing. This movie proves it, right? Like at the end, they're on top of this mountaintop. And I know it's supposed to be Mount Rushmore, but it's not. At the same time, though, they're struggling and they're crawling and, and there's a foot on top of Thornhill's hand.
Yeah.
And he's
Dick.
trying to save it.
What a dick.
Come on, Leonard.
And then off at the corner, we haven't really talked about it, but the professor he's as much a MacGuffin as anything else. He's like, shoot him dead. Right? And there's this whole idea that it's not the CIA, but it's the CIA, but it's not the CIA.
But it's like maybe no one in government actually knows what this little team of people is doing. They just sort of doing their thing.
Real life. Like real life.
Yeah. Yep.
And Thornhill saves the day and saves the woman, and they're banging on the back of a train, which we literally end with a train entering a
So
tunnel.
when all this is over, we need to go back on the train to New York.
Been there.
It's like,
At the
what?
same time.
Yeah.
It's just
She's like, what? For old time's sake. He's like, no, this is a proposal.
the movie falls to dust except for the fact that they're banging, and we're like, all right, well, we're here.
Was that intentional?
Yeah,
Yes,
of course. it's
very
here.
much.
It was a dream the whole time.
He says Hitchcock called it his naughty scene that he was able to get away with because it's kind of subtle. Well, I don't know. Is it subtle? Maybe.
He's always
Pornhub, you see.
He's always thumbing his nose at the censors, like clearly through their dialogue, in multiple movies, they're talking about like, well, there's only one bed here. Well, what does that mean? And it's like, well, there's only so much you can show or illustrate, right? At that point of the 50s.
Too big fits in the tunnel.
So was this at the period of time where
All the Hays Code, yeah.
where a husband and wife needed to have separate beds in such as is that what it was?
That's why Thornhill's making out with our bombshell here against a wall. They're sitting up. They can't be in bed together. Like, I mean, as the documentary American Pie would call it, you can't dry hump a MILF. No, but
Boy, that's a line that didn't stick with me. Is that in there?
well,
That's a
in the Ken Burns documentary, like, na 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 na. So Sherman and the MILF, like, it just, the whole idea of the Hays Code was, you couldn't have them in bed together. There couldn't be any like thrusting.
No,
But like, no.
but you could smack a woman.
That's why they were making out against a wall. That's why they were making out sitting up. That's why a couple weeks ago when we talked about Psycho, it was post-coitus, but she was like barely buckling on that bra. Like, like,
yeah, they're just like referencing, they had a lunch meeting basically.
right. They had something 3.5 minutes, and then the sandwich was her vagina. No, Aviva. No, it's
Arby's. We have them. Anyways,
All right, Ving Rhames.
Nice.
at the end of the day, the whole point was Hitchcock was having fun skirting the line.
Yes, he has
Yeah.
a lot of fun with that, obviously.
And because of that, if you were an audience, you're more interested in seeing it because he was dancing around the line. And again, the Psycho.
He was kind of getting known for these little eggs
right.
too. Like,
And again, the next year, Psycho was the one who had there'd never been a toilet on screen before. And they also stabbed a woman to death after the toilet. And people were talking about the toilet. So,
It's Psycho. I think really the toilet's like the fifth character. You know what I mean? Just to me, okay?
the mom.
yeah. Oh well.
So, Roger Thornhill, you see, 20 years older. I mean, and again,
At least.
can all seduce people 20 years
I
old.
think he might be 30, honestly. Close to it.
Where in the world is Carmen San Diego? Final thoughts, Alex?
Man, great. This movie will keep you engaged because if you want to experience the movie, you gotta pay attention to try to keep track of people's motivations, their allegiances, what they're after. That's really fun for me. It's visually incredible. Cary Grant is just like, I don't know, just some kind of presence on screen.
I'll go sorry.
Yeah, no, love it.
I'll go next just because I want smarter people than me to go after me, but fuck you, Alex.
Yeah, we get the dummy out of the way. Get the dummy out of the way.
I'm sorry.
And everyone else proceed.
I just wanted to say, because I do these last all the time and my film nerdom takes over, so I apologize, but watch any other movie from this genre and then watch this and realize this is what everyone stole from. I love the Bond movies. I've seen them all many times. Even they took from this. The reason I like this is a Wrong Man movie is immediately a failure. But this isn't. Hitchcock knows what to do by showing us the world he wants to show us by a loser. I went on a bad date at one point with the Bill Murray movie.
Groundhog's Day?
Yes.
Osmosis Jones?
No. It was no, it was The Man Who Knew Too Much. And you're just watching a Wrong Man movie that's a comedic nightmare. This movie knows where the camera should be, and it's making a spy movie. It's making a good movie with a charming man who is facetious. He is a facade. Because he's an advertiser, he's trying to advertise out of this. And even at one point, James Mason is critiquing his acting. You know what? You're doing it all wrong, you see. You're supposed to be this super spy, and you're an idiot. How good is that as a director who deals with a facade? I love this movie. If you don't know Hitchcock and you're trying to talk about film, you've got it wrong. Nor?
This was my first time watching a Hitchcock movie in full. I watched Psycho, but it was in bits and pieces, but I do appreciate that this one was in color. It really confused me, which I guess was the point. And I really appreciated all the twists and turns, and it was maybe topical at the times. I personally need to watch this movie again because I think I was so tied into the story and plot and trying to figure things out that I actually missed out on what was very revolutionary at the time when this movie was coming out. Like you said, like the teasing and then the assassinations and the exterior shots. So I really enjoyed this movie simply because, even though it was on Tubi, just like the quality of it compared to the other movies at the time. So,
Lauren, take us up.
No, this was a joy to watch. Thank you for picking this one. I hadn't watched this since probably high school. When our film class, Nick, and probably I think when I was going through a Hitchcock phase. Anyway, so it was a joy to just to watch it again. There was a lot I didn't remember. I think Hitchcock is a master for a reason. He was an asshole, but he was a master for a reason. It's beautiful. I think it's really well done. The dialogue and the plot just really, really moves along. The acting's great. Yeah, no notes. I really enjoyed it.
No notes. Yeah, no, we'll end here, but just understand a good director deals with faults. I don't know. This is a movie about a lead character who drinks too much and they're making him drink and he's not really a coherent hero.
Oh, he's not that drunk. We're not that. Sorry, beer fest.
That reminds me of our podcast. So thank you for listening. No, we're almost at the end of our Hitchcock month. We're almost at the end of our season. So thank you for listening. Thank you for doing what you do. And thank you because we appreciate literally anyone listening. Follow us on all the socials, including the TikTok that somehow Nora's going to figure out from what we've been doing.
We need 1,000 followers so we could do the link tree. But you have 11 accounts, so we'll figure it out. We're figuring it out.
They're really good. Go follow the TikTok.
And like most of these movies we've been doing for these Hitchcocks, watch this one. Because there's a million things we haven't talked about. From her dresses and her secret messages and the people involved. And the fact that he's probably gay, one of the villains, and he's playing it the gay villain. And the thing about that is, in 58 or 59, that's a big deal. Because then everyone now has the gay henchmen in these villains, and they suck. But here we have a great character. So anyway, listen in, tune in, keep doing what you do, keep listening and reviewing, because without us getting those messages on wherever you listen to us, we fall off the charts. And unfortunately, after 12 years or 11 years or however long we've been doing this, we need you still. And we love doing this for you because I do this with my friends, but then only I would get to hear it. So thanks, everyone.
Myopia Movies is a podcast production of Dude Letter Podcasting and is produced by Nick Hoffman. It is edited by Nerd Trinette and Daniel Suttis, and is hosted by Nick Hoffman, with production assistance by Matthew Quinn, Daniel Suttis, and Nerd Trinette. The theme song is Surf Shimmy by Kevin MacLeod from Incomptech.com. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution for License, Creative Commons /licenses by /4.0. Thanks.